And I always love to say is that these are your sessions, and I want folks to be able to feel like you can partake part of the session and be engaged. So please use your reaction often. Give me some thumbs up if you can see my screen sharing on there. Perfect. Amazing, amazing. So before we dive in, just gonna give a little quick intro. My name is Flo Ye. I am on Don's team and also work with Michelle closely at Microsoft. I'm a cloud solution architect. And what that means is that I get to work with a lot of amazing customer and helping them on their journey of adopting M365 Copilot and also using AI agents. So it's definitely been a really, really fun journey. Agents, Copilot Studio is definitely a hot topic of the moment. So, and I'm based out in California, San Francisco Bay Area. So it's still a good morning to probably move to my side of the world. And then to all of you, good afternoon. Michelle, did you have a question? You got your hands up?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to be on camera. You certainly don't need to be, but if you would like to be, I just want to let you know you weren't. So
perfect. I was gonna be on camera, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit under the weather. Today is the day I'm trying to feel better, so I'm gonna stay off for the most part. But
okay.
hopefully that's usually I'm on camera. That's why Michelle, you're reminding us. But today I just need to recuperate. It's one of those, weather changing fall weather that's kind of getting me in the Bay Area. I don't know.
I get it. All right. Well, great. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes. But for all of you, hopefully you are able to see a poll asking you, have you built or used an agent before? I just want to always love to get some, sentiment from the crowd and see where you guys are at. And also it's always fun to use all these different types of tools at Microsoft Teams to also give you to see some of the reactions and results. So also helps me to ground what I'm talking about here. So I'm seeing, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing the votes are coming in. We got 62 responses so far. I think most of you are at the beginner level where you're trying to figure out where it's an agent and getting started. And then some of our people are at the intermediate level where you know your ways around and maybe just kind of wanting to know more. And definitely, Avery, yeah, you are not alone in terms of just between 1 and 2. I'm seeing that as a comment as well. Thank you for putting that on in the chat. But for sure, if you are a beginner or even intermediate, you are at the right place. We're really excited to have you and kind of go over this session about Copilot Studio. So today's agenda, it's going to be 3 portions. One is intro to agent, right? For many of you are like, hey, agents are such a hot topic right now. Everybody's talking about agent, but what is even an agent? And many different organizations also have different definition. So for sure, we're going to cover on the basics. And then we're going to talk about Copilot Studio, which is one of the tools that you can utilize at the Microsoft landscape, a platform or tools that you can use to build agents at Microsoft. And lastly, we're going to do some demo. And if we have time, we're also going to talk about some of the new exciting features. So that is the agenda for today. And before we even dive into building agents, one of the things that I do want to highlight, and I do that with all of my audience and people who are utilizing agent, is to make sure that you do have access to M365 Copilot chat. So many of you probably attending this session because you're coming from a certain organization and you want to learn more about, what Microsoft is doing in the AI space, right? So one thing, you might already be familiar with it. If not, just my shameless plug to make sure that you know how to access M365 Copilot chat. So this is going to be your productivity tool to help you with your day-to-day work. This one, it is also, doesn't matter if you have the license, the $30 per person per month you're paying or not. If you essentially have the Office license, you would be able to already access to M365 Copilot chat. So just make sure one of the key call out I would like to say for M365 Copilot chat, it's grounded Copilot, it's protecting your enterprise data. If you see that little green button on, that means that your data is secure and your data does not leave the Microsoft enterprise protection. So all of that is within your enterprise boundary. So that's one thing I always like to plug. If you don't know how to access already, you should be able to click on that little link on the top to access M365 Copilot Chat. And M365 Copilot Chat probably be mentioned and you probably seen it. It is also available everywhere, and that's one of the key difference of M365 Copilot Chat, because it's not only the URL, the website that you can access. Now with the new update, doesn't matter if you are paying the extra license fee to get the premium features or you just on the basic version, you will be able to now access M365 Copilot Chat across Outlook, Teams, Edge, and your mobile as well. So that is my last slide. If you have not already, please make sure that you get your phone out now, scan on this QR code. You'll be able to download M365 Copilot on the go to be able to use it on your phone. The reason why before I talk about agents and how to build an agent, I talk about M365 Copilot Chat is because there's so many out-of-the-box features that can already be achieved with M365 Copilot Chat. I always tell my customers to please first explore Copilot and M365 Copilot Chat to make sure that you know what are the features that are already out of the box, is already there to help you your day-to-day work and help you with your productivity before you go build an agent. And the second point is that the agent that you build with Copilot Studio can just be deployed to M365 Copilot. So it can become one of the windows where you can chat, as you can see right on the web URL. These are all the agents that you can access on the left-hand panel. So that's also where you will be able to access the agents that you will be creating from today's session, and as well as using it on the phone. All the agents that you create and deploy to M365 Copilot can just also be accessed on your phone as well. So give me some thumbs up, some reaction if you are all good with accessing M365 Copilot Chat or download that on your phone before we move ahead to the agent topic. Amazing, great feedback. Thank you, you all. Well, now let's get to the fun part in terms of talking about agent. Like I was saying, every single company out there, all of the tech vendors, right? We all have some sort of thing called agents, right? What the heck does agent even mean? How can we utilize agents, right? I always like to start stealing the quote from our CMO at Microsoft, talking about agent by giving an example. So what we think of M365 Copilot and Copilot in general is like your smartphone. Doesn't matter, is an Android or an iPhone, right? You got your phone that can do the basic functions and help you navigate your day-to-day. But at Microsoft, when we talk about an agent, we think about it's like an app on your phone. So we can talk about, the Uber apps that you can download on your phone that help you to get a ride share, right? To go to a concert, go to dinner with your friends, and you can download the Airbnb apps. So that way, it can help you book a vacation home and all that great stuff. And that's how we define agents at Microsoft, are those apps on your smartphone, which we describe as Copilot, to do enhanced activities and specific use cases. So you already know about M365 Copilot, Copilot Chat. I just shared those resources, and you know that Copilot Chat is available in all of your Office products, right? Now, these agents are like new apps that building on top of what Copilot already have offered, and then deploying them all across different UI that you can access. So like I was mentioning, these agents are nothing but an app from our perspective, and these specific app or agents you build can help you achieve specific purpose. For example, like growing your revenue, optimizing costs, right? You can build an agent. For example, I'm working with one of my customers right now to help them build a proof writing like a marketing proofreading agent to help them with their legal department to draft communication. So these are kind of the agent that you deploy on top of M365 Copilot to help them optimize the process and also avoid any risk, that they would publish the wrong agency names or customer names on their marketing material. And one of the advantage of building agent with Microsoft products and Copilot Studio included is also the control that you are able to put in place. We have the data protection. All of the information that you interact with Microsoft does not leave Microsoft and your enterprise boundaries. And your admin is also to have those control points to measure the impact and also measuring what data and putting the guardrail around what data your user is able to analyze and also be able to build. So this is a very effective way. It's kind of a full package solution from building, also using the agent as well as for admin to give control and manage the guardrails. So all of these agents, although of course is within the Microsoft ecosystem, you can deploy the agent to use on Teams, on M365 Copilot, like I was mentioning, but also you should know that you can also deploy these agents you build in Copilot Studio to other apps like Slack, if that is the communication tool that you use at your organization. You can also deploy these agents onto different web, right? You probably have seen some sort of little pop-up that like talk to this agent, that type of awesome website that you see. Copilot Studio would also allow you to embed the agent onto any of the website or other different apps. So just something that you should know, not only you are able to deploy it within the Microsoft ecosystem, but very much so you can also deploy it to other places so then your user can interact with the agents you build. And one of the things I also would like to highlight in terms of just the UI, UX, and also how to interact with agent is, of course, the agent store. I already mentioned that, there are different agents that you can create, right? Today, we're going to talk about creating agents on Copilot Studio. I'll show the demo. So all of those agents that you create can be deployed to the agent store. So everybody at your organization can see the agent that you build. But at the same time, you also have different agents that Microsoft already created. Those are the out-of-the-box agent. Some of my favorite, including the analyst and the researcher agent, they're just really wonderful in terms of using the deep reasoning model to help you to do research and then also help you to analyze any Excel spreadsheet, creating different charts and also prediction. They are just wonderful resources that I want to highlight. I would say that one more time, and what I'm someone who believe that you should not reinvent the wheel. If there's already amazing agents that have been created within the Microsoft ecosystem, it was created for you by Microsoft or by other third-party vendor, for sure, make sure you check out the out-of-the-box agent before you dive into actually creating your own agent. And the researcher and analyst, like I was mentioning, are probably going to be the top two that I want you all to be able to kind of utilize before you go forward to other using agents. And then I know I'm sharing a lot of knowledge here. I do want to say, before I lose all of you in terms of just like the basic knowledge sharing, before I go into the demo, I'm gonna launch some quiz out here. So hopefully we can also see what everybody have learned from this session, and just kind of a little fun game to get to know where we are as well. But I'll launch that in a little bit just right before I do the demo. But continue into kind of the agent definition of Microsoft, right? We see agents into three categories and buckets. Agents is a spectrum. So there are agents that are very fancy and can do a lot of advanced activities. There's also agents that are pretty basic, but very powerful in terms of helping your day-to-day work. So when we talk about agent at Microsoft, we kind of put them into the three categories. First category is the retrieval agent. So these are kind of the most simple, the easiest build agent. One of the example when we talk about what is a retrieval agent, right? Give an example of an IT help desk. When we talk about retrieval agent, you can talk to that agent about, hey, what is the process to request a new laptop? And then that agent will be able to tell you based on your internal documentation, step by step, okay, you need to maybe go on the ServiceNow portal, maybe go on Zendesk, whatever tool that you use, right? And you need to click on A, B, C, D buttons to get you to get a new laptop. So this is type of retrieval agent. And the middle part between the simplest and the most advanced is the task agent. So these agents are actually able to take on different actions on your behalf. So for example, expanding further from just telling me how to request a new laptop step by step, this agent would be actually able to send that ticket to me on my behalf, to my manager, whomever that might be part of the approval process. So then the laptops is actually requested, not just telling me how to request. So this is sometimes we like to give an example. It's like not only just telling you how to bake a cake, but actually baking the cake for you, right? Actually able to put in that request on your behalf within the same experience of talking to that agent. I do want to say, even though the retrieval agents seem to be very simple, right? And it has less functionality, but I would say this is the most useful type of agents. Many customers coming to me talking about their organizational problems. One of the most common one, and I think that's across anywhere that you work, is that there's too many documents. There are too many procedures, too many different things that are sitting somewhere that you don't know how to find it. That's when the retrieval agent is exactly powerful to help you in terms of navigating HR onboarding, right? Team onboarding, organization onboarding, because you have a new employee coming to the organization and they don't know how to find information where and how. Retrieval agent is extremely powerful. And coming into the last example is the autonomous agent. So these type of agents actually operate independently based on specific triggers. So one example I could give building on the IT help desk agent is that the agent can notify your manager and request for a new laptop approval once your laptop is over 3 years old. Maybe that is an internal policy, right? All the employees need to get a new laptop every 3 years. I can tell you that's not Microsoft. I have not had the privilege to work at any company that give me a new laptop every 3 years. But let's say just as an example, or entertain this idea that you are supposed to get a new laptop every 3 years. So maybe the agent can hook up to your ServiceNow, your Zendesk, or even your Workday data, right, to recognize that your machine has reached the 3-year mark, and automatically in the background, it kicked off the process for you and then asking your manager for approval so you can get a new laptop. So that's another example of how this agent is operating autonomously, kicking off without your input, but still having the human in the loop, getting your manager to come in and asking for their approval. So that is an example of an autonomous agent. This type of agent is gonna kind of be the one's most advanced agent that you will be able to build within the Microsoft Copilot Studio ecosystem. And with that, it's kind of like the whole package that I was mentioning, right? When you use M365 Copilot Chat, you are able to chat just, your regular GPT models that you can ask questions and help you brainstorm ideas and all that generic chat functions. And then now you're also adding the agent on top of the chat function. So you can also interact with the agents and then also giving you that enterprise data protection with the IT control that Copilot Studio comes with. And that's kind of the whole full package. And hopefully that gives you some of the concept of what agents are and how you will be able to build different types of spectrum of agent. Moving into the next part, it is the decision path in terms of what you need to use to build an agent. There are many, many different tools that you can utilize to build agents. Microsoft specifically, depending on your level and the complexity of the use cases, we have Agent Builder, what we also call the Copilot Studio Lite, which is embedded in your M365 Copilot experience. You can just click on that create agent. You'll be able to create retrieval agent right away. Similar to also the agent builder in SharePoint, you can also create agent there that will retrieve agent. So that's very similar to what we talked about in terms of like that retrieval agent, right? Very simple, very easy to use, and you can create those agents very, very quickly. Coming into the middle is Copilot Studio, which will be the focus of today. And this is the tool that I'm teaching you and showing you basic demo of how you can build an agent. So this is coming into the middle where I categorize it for the makers, for kind of the citizen development level of agent building. So you do not have to be a professional developer. You do not need to know Python or any of the crazy language, computing code, all that great stuff to build agents. It is a kind of user-friendly drag and drop UI UX experience for you, but there's also going to be able to create these type of task and autonomous agent that I was talking about, and that will also be included in the demo that I'll be sharing. But essentially, it's giving you a little bit more advanced features and also monitoring. And then on the last is also for developer. You can build agents also with VS Code, also the Azure AI Foundry. It is not going to be the focus of today. That's why it's grayed out a little bit in terms of what you can access, but you can still, if you're someone who is comfortable with custom coding, with custom line coding, this is also an option for you. And with all of those agents, you can still also publish them to M365 Copilot to use with the chat function. With that, I would like to kind of show it to you how to be able to navigate to Copilot Studio. I'll also put, you should be able, since I'm presenting it in Teams, you should be able to click on these links easily, but I will also put all the links that I'm sharing on the screen right now in the chat. So how to access Copilot Studio, it's nothing but an URL. So you just have to go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. One expectation that I would like to set today is that I only got less than an hour to cover this session, right? So there's going to be a limited amount of resources and knowledge that I could share today. And especially given the audience, most of you are at the beginner and also intermediate level. Most of you are beginner. I'm going to show some of the more beginner features, some of the more basic features that you can do with Copilot Studio. I can talk about Copilot Studio, and actually that's part of my job for 2 straight days. So there's definitely going to be a lot of features that I'm not going to be able to cover in today's short, remaining 20 minutes that we're going to be together. So I highly recommend, for whatever questions or features that I'm not going to be able to cover today, check out those 4 links that I put in the chat as well as on the slide. So the first link is going to take you to the Copilot Developer Camp. So this is an amazing resource and place where you can learn all about Copilot Studio, many different resources. You can follow the labs and then, start building your first agent, and then also telling you different type of custom connector, how to create those more advanced feature. The second link, similarly, it's also to a Microsoft Learn platform. So once you finish those learning, you would also be able to get a little badge that you could share on your LinkedIn profile to just showcase the time that you spend on learning Copilot Studio and learning how to build agent. The number 3 link is going to the Agent Academy. Similarly, you can also earn some of the badges in there in terms of doing different functions and hands-on lab learning with Copilot Studio. And the number 4 thing is that if you are more so someone who like to follow along these type of live learning, you want to have some different sessions that you attend to learn about Copilot Studio, highly recommend about Microsoft Power Customer Advisory Team. They from time to time do some of those Copilot Studio in a day or some AI webinars that you may find useful and helpful. Highly recommend to attend their sessions as well. You do have to register ahead of time. Feel free to take a look at their calendar and see what are some of the amazing sessions that they're cooking up. So if you prefer to learn it in a live style. So with that, I just want to see some reaction. Is everybody good in terms of being able to access these resources and also access Copilot Studio? Perfect, amazing. So with that, I am going to switch over to talk a little bit more about Copilot Studio. As I talk about Copilot Studio with a basic knowledge, and I'll be going also into the demo, feel free to follow along, but don't worry if it's not something that you were able to navigate the entire time. Like I said, the resources are great to follow along after the session, and we'll also have the recording and also all of the deck and resources shared with you as well. So don't worry if you can't follow the entire time, but you should be able to kind of just get started from there. One thing I do want to highlight as a basic knowledge of building blocks of an agent in Copilot Studio is that agents are made up of basically instructions, knowledge, tools, and trigger. So this is very important to remember. Instruction is essentially just nothing but a prompt. If you use any AI tools previously, right, you know how to prompt. You know what a prompt is. So this is exactly that, but you're telling the agent exactly what they should be doing, how they should act. Should they be polite? Should they be friendly? Should they be professional? All of this is an example that you can simply put in a prompt to instruct your agent to do. The second thing is knowledge. So that is what the agent should kind of be trained on. What are the resources or document the agent should be providing answers based of? So your knowledge could be SharePoint. You could also set up different connector to take, for example, ServiceNow, KBs. That's another way you can establish the knowledge. And then you can also use different tools. This is, we rebranded, it used to be actions, but now it's just nothing but if you want the agent to actually act on your behalf, right? So that could be sending an email, or that could be uploading a particular file on SharePoint. Not only you want the agent to tell you how to, request a new laptop, adding a tool to that agent will also be able, for example, we can now create a record in ServiceNow. So you can get the new laptop and it goes through the flow to get your manager's approval and all that great stuff. That is a tool. And lastly, there is a trigger component in the agent building as well, because if at times you want to build an autonomous agent where you want an agent to automatically kick off because you get an email from your manager, for example, right? That is a trigger that you will be able to create as part of what Copilot Studio has to offer. So remember, the blocks of an agent are instructions, knowledge, tools, and triggers. And we talk about Copilot Studio, and we already know that today the focus is Copilot Studio. But I do want to highlight that Copilot Studio is just one of the product out of the whole Power Platform products. There's other sister products like Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, and Power Pages. All of those are also part of the Power Platform. Copilot Studio specifically, that's the only one, funny enough, that got rebranded and no longer have that power in its name, but it is certainly part of the product, and you will see a lot of different integration. So if you are someone who are familiar with building automations in Power Automate, you would find Copilot Studio very similar as well because they share similar connectors and they share some similar AI builder features as well. And one thing do keep in mind, and I see this being very, very common when it comes to agent building, and I also let my customer know, is that when you build an agent with Copilot Studio, think of it should be a use case. You want a human to be in the loop. For example, I was giving that IT help desk, right? If every 3 years I should be getting a new laptop, I can build an agent to go kick off the process in the background to be autonomous, right? I don't need to tell the agent to do it because the policy sets that every 3 years I should get a new laptop, right? So that is kickoff in the background. But you still want that human in the loop. You want your manager to approve that agent, that new laptop, right? So that's why we build it as a Copilot Studio agent. On the other hand, there might be many different use cases where is a better, more suitable for Power Automate because it does not need any human in the loop or interaction. It could just be the rules are very specific and simple. I have customers who come to me and they wanted to build an agent basically sorting different emails. Maybe you got an email from company A, so this automation should be categorizing with a specific category, company A category. And if you got an email from company B, right, then you would categorize the email as company B. So that way, different team would go and action on those emails. As you can see with that example, it's very straightforward. There not need to be any human interaction. It literally, the action is just categorizing an email based on certain condition. That is when you should think about using Power Automate to build that use case rather than Copilot Studio. So really depending on the use case, think about which of these tools would be the right platform for you to create. And lastly, just really quickly, kind of what is in Copilot Studio. You'll be able to see that in my demo in just the next second. But one thing that I do want to also highlight for any of you, if you are an admin, there's also the Power Platform Admin Center where it's not going to be the focus of today's session, but there's going to be a lot of features where you can also get to control and put guardrails on the agents that your people and your end users are building. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and kind of change my screen into going into a little demo. I do want to send you guys some quizzes in terms of the knowledge that I just covered and see where we are at with the answer over there. So feel free to give in what your input. The first question is obviously, what is the primary role of an agent in MN365 Copilot Studio? So let's see. I don't have any swag, unfortunately, that I can give for the best winner, but it is fun. I always think that to kind of get that little quiz going to see where everybody kind of capturing the knowledge. Feel free to scroll through some of these questions and also what is not the type of agent described in this presentation and what are some of the building blocks. Let's see where everybody's at. You should also be able to see the answers from there on. And I think all the answers I'm getting, you guys are all doing really, really good. Okay, we got a lot of great responses in the first one, for sure. It's two. I know it's also the longest one. It's usually the right answer. For the second one, we also want to see if you know which type is not an agent described in this presentation. And then also, we're doing really good. Also, in the third one, it's a little tricky. But hopefully, give me some thumbs up if you guys are able to see the right answer after you put in the answer, right? The poll tells you the correct answer. Because I don't want to spoil yet. Great. Keep those answers coming. Love to hear how you guys are doing and finding which one is the right answer. Some of the naming could be confusing, but that's also why we want the quiz to tell you. But with that, I am now going to give you a little demo of creating Copilot Studio agents. Like I said, this is going to be the pretty basic demo, given that most of you are still a beginner level. But if you want to learn more, definitely utilize those different links that I sent in the chat already. So you can also go in there and create different agents that you are interested in creating. So one of the things that kind of the UI UX walkthrough that I would like to quickly give it to you guys is that once you come to Copilot Studio, basically just accessing Copilot Studio is very, very simple. You just have to go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com. Depending on your organization settings, you may end up on different environment. Not going to dive too deep into that part today, but right on the top, you should already be able to see using natural language to create an agent. So the example, I'm also going to be putting the example in the chat, all of the prompts that I use, just so that you guys can follow along if you would like to create the agent together with me. But if not, also can be good resources in the future where you can go back. So very simple. I can use natural language, just that one sentence. So today, my goal is to create an agent where I can answer IT-related questions. So with that one simple instruction, my agent builder is getting to work. So it's already created some of the starter prompt for me. And then now it's suggesting me to rename it. So I can say, yes, please rename. And then what the agent builder function will do is that to help me kind of create the agent description, the configuration, and also renaming the agent. So it will just give a second, and as you can see here, the agent has been renamed. And if I flip over to configure, you can see that the instructions also now created just based on my one-line description of creating an IT-related questions, and based on the policy and procedure. So here you can already see the description is created and there's already instruction put in to the agent for me. And of course, I can go keep chatting with this agent builder function. The more I chat with it, the more it would continue to update the instruction based on what I am saying and all that great stuff. So also based on that one sentence, you can already see the suggested prompts are created, and I can always come and modify the agent. So now I'm at a point where I can also add knowledge. So simply come here, I can add knowledge from a public website, from SharePoint, and also different connectors. If your organization have it set up, it will also be available. So very simply, if I want to add an agent from a SharePoint perspective, all I have to do is go click on that SharePoint option. And now I can click on all of the documents that I would like to create in terms of getting this agent set up. And now I just have to confirm the selection. One of the really, really key things, I'm not going to do that today because the time constraint is extremely important for you to put in good description of this knowledge, because the agent use orchestration, agentic orchestration to route different knowledge. So the better description that you can give to the Copilot Studio agent builder, the better the agent will know when and how to use this document. Think of it like an intern. Really, essentially building an AI agent is very similar to training up a junior intern at your company, right? You can dump them a stack of documents. Good thing with the agent is that it can read faster than your human intern at a company, right? But the more you can tell your intern, hey, if you got a customer asking you about how to set up a server, right? Use this book. This booklet, this instruction, give you the instruction on how to set up a server. Use this other document if customers asking you how to set up their 401k account, for example, right? So the more you can actually modify and tell the agents what this document would be about, the better the agent knows to use this document for specific knowledge. So now with all of that set up, having the configuration set up, I'm going to click on the create. So now the agent is able to be spinning up in the background. It can take kind of few seconds to get everything set up in terms of you would see it's not abnormal to see that this feature is not available until your agent has finishing setup. That just means that the agent just might take a second to get everything hooked up. So with that in mind, I did already created a different agent previously to just, make sure that everything is set up so we don't have to wait on the screen. So very similar to what I already created, right? Once this agent is ready, you will be able to see the knowledge sources. They will be check marked saying it's ready. And you can also see the instructions here. One thing is that you can always go back, edit the instructions. One new thing that I did add, comparing to what it wasn't there previously, is instructing the agent to tell IT to go into building 123, telling the user to go into building 123, or calling this number if any further assistance is needed. And I'm also grounded the agent similar to what you saw with all these different knowledge sources. So now let's give it a try. I'm going to ask the agent how I can access the company's organization email system. So what you would see is that the agents start gathering the knowledge sources and then looking into the different knowledge source. So then to make sure to provide me an answer. And then what you would see is that now the agent, let's go to the activity mapped. One thing is really cool with Copilot Studio is that once you open the activity map, you can also exactly see why the agent did what and what are some of the activity it was invoked. As you can see, it invoked the knowledge and then also giving me the citation, the sources, the references where it generated the answer. And then also within the down here, it also tells you to call the building number or the support number, which is a specific instruction that I added in the agent instructions. And as you can see, it also in the answer is giving you references. You can click on the references to see, so then the user can also double check if the knowledge was correct. One of the other cool things that I do want to tell you is utilizing the tools, right? Like what I was mentioning, tools is nothing but enabling your agent to take an action. So as you can see, the agent, because of the knowledge, is able to provide you an answer that's based on your organization's internal information. I also added a tool. This tool is a specific Outlook tool. So to add a tool, you can always just click on Add Tool, and then there's different specific action that you can do. There are Teams connectors, for example, that allows you to maybe create Teams meeting, list different members. And then there's Outlook tools, and there are also Excel tool. For example, maybe your agent calls to update a specific Excel document, right? So you can use these different tools to have the agent to also take actions for you. The particular tool that I created is to send an email. So let's take a look at what the send an email does. So if I go into edit, you would see that the tool is to send an email using M365 Outlook. What I do here is I put in, you can either fill in the email dynamically with AI, or you can have a custom value where you ground the AI agent to send it to a specific email address. That is what I did here. So I can simply say, email this to me. So what this agent will do in this particular use case is now from knowledge and now also invoked the email myself tool. So what it did is that it captured the conversation history and then send it to the email address that was hard-coded. So now I can come over to my email. What you would see here is that it got me sent a new email in terms of telling me exactly what that conversation history was about. So this is just an example. sorry, this is actually the email that just got. It was 11:21 here where I am, in terms of capturing the conversation history. So that is one of the tools and functions that I'm able to build in terms of with this agent, just in case, right? Maybe someone wanna the chat history to be a copy sent to their email, or I could have built a tool where I can send this as a Teams chat or ping or even a Teams post as well. So this kind of is the action. So the agent not only can chat to you within the agent grounded on knowledge that you had set up, now you are also able to set up a tool that conduct an action in here. That's a specific example is to send an email to myself with the conversation history. So that's a simple demo of the knowledge, of the tools, as well as the instruction. You can also always add in different triggers so that agent can be run at a specific time of the day, or maybe a response was submitted through Microsoft Forms. So these are also the different trigger that you can set up for your agent depending on the use case. One last thing that I would like to share with you is that once you publish this agent, you always want to, so agents, all this is like saved as a draft. Publishing the agent allows you to kind of update the master code in the background of what this agent is. And then once the agent is published, what you can also do is deploying the agent to different channel, like I was mentioning, either Microsoft Teams, M365 Copilot. This agent can also even be deployed to different websites or Facebook or Slack, so your end user can interact with the agent you create anywhere and everywhere. Well, with that, it's kind of the demo that I would like to show today. Like I was mentioning, if you are interested in kind of going into deeper details of all of the different features, you can see here there are things that I'm not going to have the opportunity to cover in terms of like using agents, how to connect agents with other agents, what are the different topics you could set. Highly recommend going to the labs with one of those links that I send. There are all these different step-by-step. You can follow, you can watch the video, and then, learning how to set up different topics. So even they did such a wonderful job with like step 1, 2, 3. So if you want to learn more, absolutely recommend that you go there to utilize these different resources. With that, I think we got 6 minutes left. Dawn and Michelle, how about we take some questions and see what we can answer from the crowd?
Absolutely, yeah. Actually, Pete has a good one. And I don't know if you addressed this at all, but I mean, especially as, what accounts are these being set up as? And I know in your demo, you're using the mod administrator for that account, but what kind of suggestions do you have so that you don't have somebody leave and then all of a sudden access to that agent is gone, especially from an account perspective?
Wonderful question. So depending on why you're setting up this agent, or who you're building this agent for. For me, the connection, because this agent for me is not to be shared with a larger organization. I could just be building this agent for my team, right? So it's totally okay to set up with my account, and it's going to be following the permission. So this is also exactly similar to your Power Platform connection. So it's essentially the same. It's using the same. If you build Power Automate solution, it's using the same connection account and the connection, how it's set up. And usually when you are building to avoid, right, to avoid permission issue, if one person who set up the agent is leaving the organization, what we always recommend is to set up a service account. So this is something that you would work with your IT admin to set up the service account, and then making sure that you link it to the server account rather than your personal account. That's where we will set it up. And then when you are sharing this agent with other people, keep in mind that it's also sharing your connection. So you definitely don't want to, if it's linked to your personal account, you don't want it to share massively with an organizational level of deployment. You can always use a service account. And when it comes to, okay, what if there was already an agent that was built by someone else and they left the organization? Now the agent have fallen apart, right? That you can go to the admin of the organization. They would have access to all in, not the focus of today, like I said, but in Power Platform, there is somewhere where you can see all of the Copilot Studio agents that are ever created. So then your admin can go in each of those agents and fix them if they need to be fixed.
Yeah, and to that point, Chris Shu just dropped in. He found something on the Message Center post saying that admins will be able to do that now through PowerShell, making that even easier to change that ownership as well. So I think that's a great call out, Chris. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
The other thing too is, and I don't know if you addressed this, but as far as Copilot Studio in general, what is the licenses that need to happen for somebody to use Studio to be able to create an agent in general, right? There's a lot of ifs, scenarios that come in as far as what's going on there. But in general, can you just quickly high level talk about the licensing?
Yeah, for sure. So in general, there's not a cost implication in terms of a builder. So if you want to access Copilot Studio to build an agent, there's not a cost associated to that. You do need a license, which your admin can give you the free license. Depending on your organization, you can either get a free trial or your admin can assign you a Copilot Studio license. Either way, there will be no cost association to build agents. The cost comes to consuming the agent. So it's more so when you are an agent, let's say deploy this agent to some users, when the user is interacting with the agent, that is when the cost is happening. And one highlight, just because a brand new update, is that we have expanded the M365 Copilot licensing. So what that means is that if you deploy this agent to a user who has a M365 Copilot license, the people who pay $30 per month per person, a lot of function to them, it's all included with that $30 already. It needs to be a little bit, there's a pay as you go if you deploy it to a unlicensed user. So if they don't have that M365 Copilot license, there'll be some cost that is consumption based and you can set up pay as you go. But to answer that, as a builder, there's no cost to get that to start building.
Perfect. Thank you for that. I don't know about this one. Jason throws an interesting question in there talking about the Teams workflow app being redesigned, and he's kind of wondering how Copilot, Power Automate, agents, all of those, and how they're kind of maybe eventually working together. I don't know if you have any thoughts around that, Flo. I know that there's some things starting to happen, but I don't know. That's a pretty complicated question, Jason, but what do you think, Flo?
Yeah, so I definitely think that integration is absolutely happening, and we already see the integration happening in terms of with Power Automate flows and Copilot Studio, because now you can also even go in to create agent flows. So I think the integration in general, just on a high level, they're all coming together, talking to each other, and a lot of these workflows, I also know that a lot of Teams workflow is built, using a lot of Power Automate tools as well. I just really think the whole Microsoft ecosystem and the whole family of different tools are definitely going to be coming together and allowing you to kind of use them across different platforms. So I think it's all positive trend from that perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, I know there's a few other questions there, but I want to make sure we get to our next presenter here. But if you have a chance, Flo, and you take a look at some of their questions and see if you can hop in and answer those, that would be appreciated.
Sounds great. Awesome. Thank you so much for the time today. Hopefully this is helpful. Like I said, double click into the resources if you're interested in continue learning. Any topics that you want to learn, definitely Don and Michelle, the right people to hopefully narrow into if there's any other topics that you want to dive deep more.
Yes, perfect. Everybody give some love to Flo for her presentation. We appreciate it again, Flo. Thank you.